Fora TV. The world is thinking.
This question builds on some of the observations you made just now and earlier. If, this is about hope, I think, if the Saudis and the money and the Israelis' technology ever teamed up, they could transform the Middle East. What, if any, possibility is there that this could ever, underlined, happen?
We've been there. I mean, look, in 1991, you remember we had a little war against Saddam in April 1991. Whole coalition, George H.W. Bush. Even the Soviets supported us. It was that sort of war. We defeated Saddam. In the aftermath of the Kuwait war, James Baker, the Secretary of State, decided this was a good time to launch a new Middle East peace initiative. And after a lot of toing and froing, which I'm certain Aaron Miller can be more exquisitely detailed about tomorrow than I can, they put together something called the Madrid Conference, which brought together Arabs, Israelis, and the Palestinians came as a part of the Jordanian delegation. And one of the outcomes of the Madrid Conference was to set up economic commissions to look at exactly the thing Tom looked at. If we have peace, what's the atmosphere like for business? And they held the first meeting, I think, in Morocco, and the second in Egypt, and the third in Jordan. And in each of these meetings, enormous brochures were produced by companies, including a lot of Israeli companies, who saw enormous possibilities. Once you open up the borders and have normal relations, the sky's the limit. They showed, for instance, how just something as simple as tourism, that instead of having to, so people that go to the Middle East like to go to the pyramids, Jerusalem and Petra in Jordan. Instead of having to change planes, get your passport, visa right, fly on certain times of the day because the Egyptians don't allow the Israelis' planes to land except at night. How easy if you could just get in a coach and drive because it's so close. It would make an enormous difference, and it would boom. Likewise, the export of technology. Israel's primary markets for its high technology are Europe and Asia, not the Arab world, but they easily could be. And similarly, there's a lot of products could come from the Arab world into Israel, and in particular, the transit routes would be very profitable. So yes, economic rationality, it's wonderful. It makes sense. People don't go to war because it's not profitable. But I'm always reminded, and I'm certain I've said that here before, of the great book that was written in 1910 called The Great Illusion by an English economist called Norman Angell. And Norman Angell had worked out in 1910 that war just didn't make sense. It was irrational. The countries of Europe were joined together in a common bond. They shared the gold standard. Lloyd's of London insured German ships that were going to Africa and vice versa. Businesses were international. War would not make sense. 1910. He gets a goddamn Nobel Prize for it. It's a world bestseller. I think about half an hour later, the first Balkan War broke out, and then 1914. So, I have always been of a mind that, in the last resort, nationalism trumps money. Nationalism trumps money. And that you can have the most brilliant business model for business relations between countries that don't get along together, But unless you solve the basic problem of nationalism and what that carries with it,